Last night, I caught my wife laughing in the dark. And that sound, just a soft giggle, might have cracked something inside me that I don't think will ever fully mend. We've been married 12 years. We've got 2 kids, Emma is 10, Lucas is 6. I'm 39. She's 37. Life's been, well, normal. Maybe too normal. We both work full-time, we both try to juggle everything, school runs, homework, dinner, bills. I thought we were in the trenches together. Maybe not happy every second, but solid. Rooted. I thought we were a team. Until last night. She was curled up in bed with her back to me, the glow from her phone lighting the ceiling. I was brushing my teeth, dragging through the usual routine, and I heard it, a soft laugh, one I haven't heard in a long time. Not from her. Not with me. It wasn't fake. It wasn't polite. It was that kind of laugh you only let out when someone gets you. Hits the right note. Says the right thing. Intimate. I stood there with my toothbrush still in my mouth, listening. When I came out and got in bed, I asked, "What's so funny?" She flinched. Just a little. Then clutched her phone to her chest and turned it off. "Just something from work," she said. "Go to sleep." I asked again. "Who was it?" She stared at me for a second too long. Why does it matter? And maybe that was the moment I knew. Not proof. Not even a solid gut feeling. Just a shift in the air. Like something died between us, and she was pretending not to notice. I didn't push. Just rolled over. Pretended to sleep. But I didn't. I lay there staring at the ceiling while her phone buzzed once more on silent, and she slowly pulled the covers over her head to check it. Something's off. I don't know if it's an affair, not yet, but I know my wife's body language better than I know my own. I know when she's distant. I know when she's lying. And last night, I saw both. This morning, she acted like nothing happened. Made the kids lunches, kissed me on the cheek, asked if I wanted anything from the store. I wanted to ask her straight up, but I didn't. Not yet. I don't have anything concrete, and I've been married long enough to know that if you accuse someone without proof, it backfires. They double down. Gaslight. Make you feel like the crazy one. So here I am. Writing this in my garage, trying to get my thoughts in order. The thing is, I don't want to believe it. I really don't. We built a whole life together. We've been through hard times, job losses, miscarriages, arguments, debt. We made it through all that. So why now? But that laugh. That goddamn laugh. I can't stop hearing it. And now, I'm watching. I'm listening. I'm waiting for the next crack to show. Because deep down, I think I already know. And if I'm right, if she's doing what I think she's doing, I'm going to find out. I owe myself that much. And God help me, I'm not sure what I'll do when I do. It's been 2 weeks since the laugh in the dark. 2 weeks of pretending. 2 weeks of dying slowly inside. I haven't confronted her. Not directly. I've played dumb, smiled when I needed to, gone to work like everything's fine. But it's not. I'm unraveling. Quietly, so no one sees. Especially the kids. The distance between us has grown into a canyon. She stays late at work more often now. I ask when she'll be home, and she shrugs. Depends on how the meeting goes. Lots of projects this week. You know how it is. Yeah. I know exactly how it is. I've been doing my own digging. Nothing too obvious. I'm not a tech guy, but I know how to follow a routine. So I started checking her phone when she's in the shower. Nothing. Not a single message out of place. That's when I realized, she's deleting them. Who deletes all their messages every day? I'm not proud of what I've done, but I installed a cheap logging app on her old laptop, the one she sometimes uses for work when she's home. She's not very careful. Leaves it on the kitchen counter like she used to leave love notes on my pillow. The app records everything typed. That's how I got his name. Matt. Her boss. I saw her log into some browser-based chat app. Not work email. Not anything official. Just chat. Casual. Like teenagers. I saw. Ugh, he's still so clueless. I hate lying to him, but I can't stop seeing you. God, last night was everything. When can I see you again? That was enough to knock the wind out of me. I actually had to sit down on the kitchen floor, shaking like a damn leaf. Clueless. That's what I am to her. A fool. The guy making school lunches and mowing the lawn while she's out getting her back scratched by someone who probably gives her performance reviews. She's seeing him. And I think she's been seeing him for a long time. But still. I don't have the kind of proof you can shove across a lawyer's desk. I've got screenshots, but they don't have dates, times, or context. And they're just typed logs, nothing that couldn't be explained away if she got defensive enough. So I haven't said a word. Instead, I'm planning. Last night, I went for a drive. Didn't even know where I was going. Ended up in some gas station parking lot 20 miles away, just sitting there staring at the steering wheel. I think I was trying to decide whether I wanted to scream or cry. Neither happened. I just sat. I thought about my kids. What this would do to them. What it would mean to split everything up. Shared custody. Weekends without them. Birthday parties where I'd have to shake the hand of the man who wrecked my marriage. Or worse, pretend to be civil to keep the peace for the kids' sake. I thought about calling a lawyer. But then I thought about one more thing. His wife. I've met her. Emily. Sweet woman. Quiet. Kind to our kids at every work barbecue. I remember once, after a Christmas party, she helped Emma clean chocolate off her dress while my wife was too busy talking to Matt near the bar. I bet she doesn't know. She can't. And suddenly, that idea lit something up in me. Because I might not have all the pieces. But she might. And if she doesn't, maybe it's time she does. Because if I'm going down, I'm not going down alone. Next week, I'm going to talk to her. And after that, we'll see. I met with her today. Emily. The other betrayed. It took me a week to build the nerve. I kept playing it over in my head, what I'd say, how she might react, whether she'd even believe me. Whether I wanted her to believe me. Because once I crossed that line, there was no going back. You can't unring a bell. I waited until I knew my wife had a work dinner. That's what she called it, anyway. Late meeting at the hotel. Right. Sure. So I waited until she was gone, then got in the car and drove to Matt and Emily's place. I remembered the address from a party a couple years ago. I parked down the street. Sat in the car for a good 5 minutes like some creep. But eventually, I walked up and knocked. She opened the door with her hair tied back and a confused look on her face. Oh, hey. Long time no see. I asked if we could talk. She hesitated. I said it was about Matt. Her expression changed in an instant. She invited me in. The house smelled like cinnamon and furniture polish. There were kids' toys near the fireplace, a framed photo of them all at Disneyland on the wall. That hit me harder than I expected. Just a normal home. Just a normal woman. Probably thinks she's got a normal life. She sat across from me, hands in her lap, and said, "What's going on?" I told her everything. Well, not everything. I didn't tell her about the tracking app or the logs. Just that I'd seen enough to know something was going on. That I suspected it was Matt. That I needed help figuring out the truth. Her face didn't move for a long time. Just stared at the coffee table. And then she whispered, "I knew it." Turns out, I wasn't the only one with a sixth sense. She'd seen things too, missed calls at odd hours, sudden changes in routine, cologne she didn't recognize. She said she once found a receipt for a dinner in a city he was supposedly not in that day. She confronted him. He said it was a client meeting. She let it go. Because that's what we do, right? We trust. We second-guess our own gut so we don't have to face what it might be telling us. I showed her a couple screenshots. Her lips tightened. Her hands clenched. That's when she started crying. Not loud. Not messy. Just silent tears sliding down her face while she stared at the evidence that her life was a lie. I didn't know what to do. I just sat there. I didn't touch her. Didn't say anything. She wiped her eyes and said, "I need to see everything you have." So I told her everything. Even the ugly parts. The laugh in the dark. The silence. The lies. How I've been sleeping next to someone I no longer recognize. When I finished, she said, "They've been doing this for a while. Haven't they?" I nodded. Then she stood up, walked to the kitchen, and came back with a manila envelope. She'd already started collecting her own evidence. Phone records. Printouts. Even a few photos she'd taken of Matt leaving the house when he claimed he was working late. She's been fighting the same invisible ghost I have. We're both bleeding. Both exhausted. But now we've got something the cheaters don't. Each other. We made a plan. A quiet, patient, ruthless little plan. To gather proof. Hard proof. Undeniable. Something that'll shut down all the gaslighting before it even starts. And when the time comes, we'll both serve them the truth. Cold and legal. I walked out of that house tonight with a strange calm in my chest. The storm is still there, but now it has direction. I'm not a passive man anymore. I'm a man preparing for war. And the next move belongs to me. I bought a voice recorder on Thursday. One of those cheap little black things that slips under a car seat or into the lining of a coat pocket. I never thought I'd be that guy. Hiding in shadows. Snooping. Gathering evidence like some kind of amateur spy. But when your life becomes a crime scene, you either investigate, or you get buried under the rubble. Emily and I talked again. She sent me an audio clip she'd caught from Matt's car, a conversation between him and someone he never named, but whose voice I'd recognize anywhere. That soft, breathy laugh. The same one I heard in the dark 2 weeks ago. Her. They talked about, next weekend, about the same hotel she told me was for a conference. They joked about how easy it's been to keep the lies straight. How dumb we must be to not figure it out sooner. I listened to it alone in my garage, sitting on a paint can with my eyes closed. I must have played it a dozen times. Their voices. The intimacy. The smugness. It didn't even feel like pain anymore. Just numb rage. Like all the heat had been drained out of me and left behind something colder. He's not just some guy. He's my wife's boss. He's been in my house. I grilled burgers for him on July 4th while our kids ran through sprinklers in the yard. He looked me in the eye, called me brother. I could have punched a hole through the wall. But what would that change? I didn't want revenge. I wanted clarity. So I waited. Watched. This weekend, she said she was heading out of town for a strategic retreat. I asked her if it was overnight. She said yes. Said she'd be with 3 coworkers from her team. I nodded, smiled, packed her lunch. That's the thing about betrayal, it teaches you patience in the cruelest ways. Emily followed Matt's car from their office Friday evening. He wasn't alone. My wife was in the passenger seat, sunglasses on, head tilted toward him, laughing. They didn't see her. She followed at a distance, just like we planned. They checked into a hotel out near the lake. Not the nice side. The discreet side. Emily called me. Her voice was trembling, but not with sadness this time. We've got them. Together. It's time. I told her I'd handle my part. That I was ready. I'd already talked to a lawyer. Already filed the paperwork. I even had a sheriff lined up to serve her the moment she stepped out of that hotel room. The wheels were already turning, now I just had to make sure she didn't slip away before the trap was set. It's funny how calm I've become. I think the worst part was the not knowing. That gray fog of suspicion, where you keep questioning your own mind. That's over now. There's a strange peace in certainty, even if the truth guts you. Saturday morning, I kissed the kids goodbye and said I was going to run errands. Instead, I drove out to the hotel and waited. Watched from the parking lot as they checked out just after noon. He had his arm around her. She was wearing the same jacket I bought her last Christmas. They were laughing again. Always the laughing. The sheriff walked up with the envelope, called her name. She turned around, confused. Then she saw me. I didn't move. Just stood by my truck and looked her in the eye. Her smile dropped. She tried to walk toward me, but the sheriff stepped between us and handed her the papers. Her eyes went wide, her mouth opened, but no words came out. She looked back at Matt. He was already backing away. Coward. She called my name. I turned and walked back to my truck. Didn't say a thing. Didn't need to. I left her standing there, holding the divorce papers in one hand and her lies in the other. Next step? Telling the kids. That one's going to break me in ways this didn't. Telling the kids was worse than anything I've faced so far. Worse than hearing her laugh in the dark. Worse than watching her get served outside that hotel, still smelling like him. Because that kind of pain, the pain between adults, we sign up for it, one way or another. You get married, you open the door to heartbreak. But kids? They didn't choose this. They didn't build a future only to watch it catch fire. And now I had to tell them the house was burning. I waited until Sunday afternoon. After lunch. After cartoons. After things still felt normal. We sat in the living room. Just me, Emma, and Lucas. I turned off the TV. That alone made them look up, confused. I'd practiced what I was going to say. In the mirror. In my head. Over and over. But when the moment came, it all collapsed into one simple, awful sentence. Mom and I are going to get a divorce. Emma blinked. Lucas frowned. They were both quiet for a long time. I could hear the neighbor's lawn mower down the block, the clock ticking above the mantel. Why? Emma finally asked. I've never hated a question more. I didn't want to lie. But I couldn't say the truth. Not all of it. Not yet. So I gave them the kind version. We've been having problems. Grown-up problems. And we tried to fix them, but sometimes things don't work the way we hope. Emma looked down. Lucas kept staring at me, like he thought I might laugh and say it was a joke. We still love you, I added. That's not going to change. Ever. He asked, are we moving? Not right away. Is Mom in trouble? That one hit hard. I said no. I told him it wasn't about trouble, it was about choices. That sometimes people make mistakes, and when that happens, grown-ups have to make hard decisions to keep things healthy. Emma's eyes welled up. She didn't say a word. Just wiped her face with her sleeve and stood up. Walked upstairs. Her door clicked shut behind her. Lucas came over and curled up beside me. He didn't cry. Just sat there, silent, his head against my arm. We stayed like that a while. When I finally went upstairs, I found Emma lying face down on her bed. I sat on the edge, didn't say anything. Just waited. She whispered, is it because she doesn't love you anymore? I said, I think, she forgot how. Emma turned her face into the pillow. Her voice came out muffled, I don't want two houses. I didn't have an answer for that. Later that night, after they were in bed, she came home. The woman who used to be my wife. The one who came back from a weekend of lies with tears in her eyes and apologies on her lips. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said. They always say that. Like it just happened. Like it was a trip and fall into someone else's bed. She begged me to reconsider. Told me she'd go to therapy. Said she'd block his number. Delete her social media. Burn the world down if it meant we could go back. But we can't go back. Because she didn't just break trust. She broke me. I told her the kids knew. That she'd need to speak with them soon. On their level. Honestly. She cried again. Said she couldn't believe this was happening. And I said, I believe it. I've been living it. She slept in the guest room that night. We're still under the same roof, but only for now. The air between us is cold and full of ghosts. The kids don't understand the silence yet, but they feel it. And me? I sit in the dark most nights now, staring at the TV without hearing it. Wondering how much of our marriage was real and how much was just habit and convenience and a slow drift into distance. But then I remember one thing. I didn't leave her. She left us. Even if she's still here in the house, even if she wants to fix it, she's already gone. Funny how fast things settle into new routines after the world falls apart. I still cook dinner. Still fold laundry. Still take the kids to school and check homework. From the outside, we might look like a family just going through a rough patch. But inside this house, it's a graveyard. She's trying. I'll give her that. She started therapy, individual at first, now she wants me to go with her. She reads all the books. Sends me long texts during the day about regret, healing, finding our way back. And I nod. I say okay. I don't yell. I don't fight. But I don't believe her. I think she's sorry. But not for what she did. She's sorry she got caught. Sorry the mask fell off. Sorry she had to watch the look on our daughter's face when I told her we were divorcing. That kind of guilt? It burns. But it doesn't rebuild trust. Emily and I text sometimes. Mostly short things. Updates. Evidence exchange. Lawyer stuff. But lately, it's turned into more. Last Thursday, she sent a message late at night. Can't sleep. It's quiet but heavy in the house. You ever feel that? I stared at it a long time before I replied. Every night. Then she said, I can't decide what hurts worse. That he cheated, or that I didn't matter enough for him to hide it better. I didn't have a good answer for that one. We started talking more after that. Not flirting, not like that. Just honest. Raw. Two people who had the same bomb dropped on their lives, trying to figure out what's salvageable. She gets it. The insomnia. The bitterness. The guilt that somehow you weren't enough, even when your rational brain knows it's not your fault. The moments when your kids say something innocent that stabs straight through your ribs. She's the only person I've talked to who doesn't try to fix it. Doesn't say, you'll be okay, or everything happens for a reason. She just listens. Then tells me what her hell looks like. And somehow that makes mine easier to carry. Last night, she called me. I almost didn't answer. But I did. We talked for almost an hour. About nothing. About everything. At one point she laughed, a real one, not the knife to the heart laugh I heard in my wife's throat. Just soft, tired amusement about some dumb story involving her kid pouring syrup into her purse. I laughed too. And for a second, I forgot what broken felt like. After we hung up, I stared at the ceiling and thought about how strange this all is. The woman whose husband helped destroy my marriage is now the only person who feels real to me. It scares the hell out of me. Because I don't want to use her as a bandage. And I don't want her using me. But I also don't want to go back to pretending I can fix something that's already dead. My wife still thinks we can glue this thing back together. She still touches my arm in the kitchen. Still calls me babe, sometimes out of habit. And every time she does, I flinch. I don't think she notices. But the other night, I was washing dishes and I looked up and saw Emma staring at me from the hallway. Just watching. I asked if she needed something. She shook her head. Then she said, "You don't laugh anymore." That hit harder than anything else this month. I didn't even know she noticed. So maybe that's where I'm at now, standing at the edge, between two lives. One that's broken but familiar, and one that's terrifying and unknown, but maybe, just maybe, more honest. I'm not saying I'm falling for Emily. But I'm saying, I look forward to her texts. And that scares me too. Because it means something is waking up in me again. And I'm not sure what to do with that. I nearly kissed Emily today. Didn't. But I came close. Too close. We were sitting in her backyard, on that creaky old bench with the chipped paint and the ugly floral cushion that neither of us mentioned. Kids were at school. She'd made coffee. I don't even like coffee, but I drank it because it felt like something normal people do. We talked about our lives before the mess. Back when we were both naive enough to believe marriage had a kind of gravity, something that would keep two people in orbit no matter how far they drifted. She told me how Matt used to leave little notes on her windshield when they were dating. Called her red because her hair would catch fire in the sun. I told her how my wife used to fall asleep on the couch with her head in my lap while I watched old westerns she couldn't stand. And how sometimes, when she was really tired, she'd talk in her sleep, just nonsense, but it used to make me laugh. We both stared at the fence for a long time after that. Then she said, "Do you ever wonder if maybe they used to love us, but stopped trying?" I didn't answer. Because I think they did love us. But love's not a noun. It's a verb. It's something you do, over and over, even when it's inconvenient. And they stopped doing it long before they undressed for someone else. So yeah. Maybe they used to love us. But what good does that do now? Emily looked at me. That long look, the kind that lasts a second too long. Her eyes were tired, kind. There was a question hanging between us. And I almost leaned in. But I stopped. Because I'm not free yet. And she's not either. Because kissing her right now, even if no one ever found out, would feel like stepping off the same cliff they did, the same betrayal, just wrapped in better excuses. And if I cross that line, then what the hell am I fighting for? So I stood up. Told her I needed to go. She didn't argue. Just nodded, eyes low. No judgment. No anger. Just understanding. That woman has more self-respect in her silence than my wife ever had in all her apologies. When I got home, my wife was in the kitchen making dinner. Some casserole recipe she found in a marriage recovery book. She smiled when she saw me, said, "I made your favorite." It used to be my favorite. Now it just tasted like guilt. She tried to talk. Said the therapist thinks we're making progress. That she's been journaling. That she can feel us reconnecting. I told her I was glad she was doing the work. But I didn't say, "Me too." Because I'm not. I'm going through the motions for the kids. For closure. For whatever shred of dignity I can walk away with. But every day, I feel further from her. Like she's just a woman renting a room in the house where I used to have a life. And the worst part? She doesn't see it. She thinks time and therapy and casseroles can fix a house built on broken beams. That love is a light switch you can flick back on once you're done screwing up. But I'm not angry anymore. I'm just tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of being the only one who understands that forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting. That healing doesn't mean returning to the same bed where you were gutted. That night, after the kids went to bed, she came into our room in one of those old t-shirts I used to love. The soft kind, frayed at the edges. She sat beside me and said, "I miss us." I didn't say anything. She reached for my hand. I let her take it. Her fingers were cold. Then she said, "If you really don't think this is salvageable, just say so. I'll stop trying." I wanted to say it. Wanted to tell her it's over. That I'm done. That she broke something in me I can't put back. But I didn't. Because I looked into her eyes and saw a woman on the edge of a cliff. And part of me still remembers the woman who used to hold me when my dad died. So I said, "I don't know." And that was the truth. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I know what I won't do. I won't betray myself just to keep pretending this house is still a home. It ended tonight. Not the divorce, that's still paperwork and lawyers and custody calendars. No, this ending was quieter. Personal. The kind you don't put in court documents. The kind that happens across a dinner table when the lies finally stop working. We were eating in silence. The four of us. Me, her, Emma, Lucas. Lasagna. She'd made it from scratch, said she wanted to try something new. It tasted fine. The kids talked a little. Lucas told us about a spelling test. Emma barely touched her food. She's been quiet lately. Withdrawn. She's always been the sensitive one, observant, thoughtful. She feels the cold between us even if she doesn't have words for it yet. Halfway through dinner, my wife reached for my hand. And I pulled it back. Not angrily. Not with drama. Just, gently. But that was it. The spark was gone from her eyes. I saw something break in her face. That hopeful, strained optimism she's been clinging to like a life raft, it slipped. Later that night, after the kids were asleep, she came into the living room and sat across from me. Not next to me. Across, like we were negotiating peace after a long war. She didn't start with excuses this time. She said, "I know you're not coming back." I nodded. She asked, "Is it Emily?" I didn't lie. No. But she's the only one who understands. She looked down. That's what I used to be. For you. I didn't say anything. She kept going. I thought if I just worked hard enough, went to therapy, cut him off, made dinners, read the books, that maybe you'd see I was still in here. That I'm not just the worst thing I ever did. There it was. The line that stuck. Because I don't only see her as a cheater. I see her as a woman who gave up somewhere along the way. Who got tired, distracted, selfish. Who hurt the people who trusted her most, then tried to patch it up with good intentions and casseroles. I said, "I know you're not a monster. But you don't love me," she said. I nodded again. She wiped her face. No sobbing. No theatrics. Just a few tears and a long, shaky breath. "Then let's stop pretending," she said. And just like that, the fight ended. No more bargaining. No more late-night texts about us. No more guilt trips or questions about whether we're moving too fast. It's done. We'll still live together for now, until the logistics get sorted. But something shifted tonight. There's no more hope hanging in the air. Just a quiet, shared understanding that we tried. That she tried too late, and I ran out of things to give. And in that strange way, it feels like the most honest moment we've had in years. Later, I got a message from Emily. "You okay?" I stared at it for a long time. Then typed back. "Yeah. It's over. Not the paperwork, the pretending." She replied, "That's the hardest part. But it gets better. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. But at least now, I'm walking forward. No more limbo. No more ghosts whispering in the hall. The house is quiet tonight. Not from tension. Just quiet. And for the first time in a long time, that silence feels like peace. I signed the divorce papers today. She already had. A week ago, actually. Left them on the counter with a pen and a sticky note that said, "Whenever you're ready." That pen sat there for 6 days. I walked past it every morning on my way to work, every night after dinner. Sometimes I'd just stand there and stare at it, like it might explode if I touched it. Like once I signed, it would all become real in a way it hadn't yet. But it's already been real. The nights alone in the same house, but on opposite sides of the hallway. The way the kids started asking, "Are we staying at Dad's or Mom's this weekend, even though we haven't moved yet?" The morning coffee that she still makes out of habit, and that I still pour down the sink once she leaves the room. I'm not angry anymore. But I'm not numb, either. I think this is acceptance. The real kind. Not the fake smiles and "we'll get through this" crap people post on Facebook. Just a quiet acknowledgement that this chapter is over, and the next one hasn't started yet. After I signed the papers, I took a drive. No destination. Just roads and silence. Windows down, wind in my face, old Springsteen playing low. I ended up near a park Emily mentioned once. Said she liked to walk there when the days got heavy. I didn't plan on seeing her, but I parked anyway. Sat on a bench and just watched the trees for a while. Then I heard her voice. "You come here to steal my spot," she said, smiling, holding a coffee in each hand. I laughed. First real laugh in days. She handed me one of the coffees. Black. No sugar, no cream. Like a psycho. I took it. Guess you've been paying attention. She sat next to me, close but not touching. Comfortable. Natural. We talked for a while. About nothing, weather, books, the stupid things our kids say. She told me her daughter wants a pet snake now. I told her Lucas tried to microwave a sock. It felt easy. Safe. Then she asked, "So, did you sign?" I nodded. This morning. She just looked at me. No congratulations. No sympathetic head tilt. Just understanding. Then she said something I didn't expect. "You know you don't owe me anything, right?" I nodded again, slower this time. She kept going. "If this ever turns into more, I don't want it to be because you needed a soft place to land." That hit hard. Because that's exactly what she's been. A quiet place to fall. But she's right. And I told her that. Told her I don't know what this is between us, but I know it matters. And I'm not going to treat it like a rebound. We sat in silence for a while. Just sipped our coffee and watched a couple of ducks chase each other near the pond. Before I left, she said, "Heal first. Then see what's left of you. If there's something to build with, I'll still be here. I don't know what's going to happen between us. And for once, I'm okay with not knowing." Tonight, I tucked Emma in and kissed Lucas goodnight. He's been sleeping with the lights on lately. I don't ask why. I just make sure the bulb isn't too bright. And as I walked out of his room, I realized something. This is the first night I didn't replay the betrayal in my head. Didn't see their faces. Didn't hear her laugh. Didn't imagine the hotel room. Just silence. And maybe that's what healing feels like at the start. Not joy. Not closure. Just space. Space to rebuild. Or walk away. Or maybe, if the ground's steady enough, to try again, somewhere new. I moved out yesterday. Not far, 15 minutes across town. A small rental. 2 bedrooms, modest yard, quiet neighborhood. It's not perfect. The water heater knocks like an old engine and the fence leans hard to one side, but it's mine for now. The kids helped me unpack. Emma took one look at the empty living room and asked where the TV was. Lucas just wanted to know if he could jump on the bed. I said yes to both, in different ways. We picked out posters for their room together. Let them choose whatever they wanted. Emma picked stars. Lucas picked a dinosaur playing drums. That night, I made spaghetti. Burned the garlic bread. They laughed. I laughed too. Not out of habit. Not to mask anything. It was real. After I dropped them back at their mom's the next day, I drove back to the old house one last time. She was sitting on the porch. I almost kept driving, but something in me said no. Finish it. So I pulled over, stepped out. We didn't argue. No final plea. No what-ifs. She just asked, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I think I'm starting to be." She nodded. Then said the one thing she hadn't said yet through all this. "I'm sorry." Not the defensive version. Not the "sorry you're hurt" nonsense. Just those 2 words. Quiet. Honest. Like she finally understood that this wasn't about saving face anymore. And maybe I needed to hear that, because something in me let go. I told her I hoped she'd find her way. That maybe someday, the kids could look back and see we did the hard thing because it was right, not easy. She asked if there was someone else. I said, no. Not yet. And I meant it. Emily and I still talk. Sometimes we meet for coffee, sometimes we don't talk for days. We've built a kind of respectful distance, space to see who we are when we're not bleeding anymore. Maybe there's something there down the road. Maybe not. But I'm not chasing it. I'm not using her to patch holes. I'm learning how to stand still again. How to be alone without being lonely. How to listen to silence and not hear ghosts. I still get waves, flashes of pain, memory, regret. But they pass quicker now. The future doesn't look bright yet. But it looks open. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid of it. To anyone reading this who's sitting in that same quiet kitchen, staring at a phone, wondering if you're crazy, you're not. You're just waking up. It hurts like hell, but it's better than being asleep. Last thing I did before I left the old house was close the door gently. No slamming. No drama. Just a man who finally knew that love isn't always enough, but self-respect has to be. I don't know what comes next. But I know I'll face it standing up. And that's something.